So again, this particular image can be used by, I mean, look at it. I mean, the whole Hitler stuff, people, it's very powerful. And as the book says on 47, again, persuaders carefully choose their words, have maximum impact, and so the Hitler stuff, yeah. So there's lots of things to say about that. But in any case, hopefully you get, they're mowing outside, the whole sort of semiotic stuff. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. And again, I'm not trying to be political here. You know, I have some problems with Trump, but I'm sure he's a decent bloke. But in any case, let's move on. Make theory great again. Don't diss my cognitive dissidence. So the second thing that I want to cover in this, for the first little lecture for chapter 2, is more of an audience-oriented theory, and that is cognitive dissonance theory. And again, it's audience-oriented, which is sort of in the academic code, the vernacular, the convention, means more scientific, psychological, in my book. Not your book, but my book. Okay. All right. I'm already bored with my own lecture. That's terrible, isn't it? My cute here right there. My niece and my mom are in there playing Clue. Oops. She went to art camp today. I picked her up. It was fun. In any case, okay, so balancing act. So when you think about cognitive dissonance, think about balance. I'm a yogi from Muskogee. Actually, I was born in Muskogee. So in any case, we love balance, cognitive balance. We like things to align. And when they don't, we get all wonky. We get all funky. We want to... Okay. So when balance is screwed up, we want to restore that balance. And that's what cognitive dissonance theory really is all about. Developed by Leon Festinger in 1957, back in the day. And so there are 3 ways 2 cognitive elements can be related. Yeah, you get that? Sure, bugs, 2 cognitive concepts. They can be irrelevant to one another, and so it doesn't cause any sort of dissonance. The example that they give here is to sort of say, okay, you might believe a particular candidate would make a good president. You might think that driving a particular car is a good idea. They're relevant, so, okay. No dissonance, because the 2 ideas are not relevant to one another. Consonant, which is basically this idea that second, this is on page 48 if you're following along in your hymnal, the 2 ideas can be consonant with each other. You might think a particular candidate would be a good president, and then that person announces that he or she supports a law that you favor, or drives the car that you like. My name is Hillary Clinton, and I'm not only fit for office, but I drive a Honda Fit. Yeah. Okay, so no, everything's groovy. Everything's groovy. That's not groovy. God, I'm so sick of this stuff. Okay, and then you have dissonance, which this is causing me dissonance right now, but not the type of dissonance that they talk about. So 2 cognitive ideas sort of screw up. Okay, so in other words, things be inconsistent, and this makes us feel all wonky. I like this presidential candidate, but he or she disagrees with me here. What do I do? What do I do? And so cognitive dissonance can be reduced, because that's what the idea, the big theory is, that we don't like cognitive dissonance, so we want to reduce it. So how do we do that? And so that is the table 2.5, cognitive dissonance actions. So what can we do? And then, of course, the whole idea here is, well, I'll say that in a second, but reducing cognitive dissonance, and don't need drugs, but maybe. How do I reduce this feeling of anxiety? I can change one of my ideas. So I have been persuaded that smoking is harmful, so I'll stop smoking. That's the example. Okay, groovy. So everything is consistent. I am balanced yet again. I can seek more information. Another study found that smoking isn't harmful. Actually, smoking is good for you. In fact, that's one of my running jokes, that I'm trying to start smoking. I just can't start. I use the patches. I put some patches here, just try to build up to a full cigarette, but it won't work. I just can't start. But you find more information, so you continue to smoke because, again, you sought out more information. And this study over here said smoking is fine. It's not all that harmful, and so yeah. And people do that all the time, right? You know, it's like, oh God, this is awful. I need to go see that more. Oh yeah, here's something that supports my opinion. So I'm all groovy again, back to balance. Avoid contrary information, which is people do this all the time. You don't want to hear the other side because that would cause dissonance. So you just avoid anybody who's going to say anything about anything that would cause you any sort of dissonance. I'll just stop reading the health section of the newspaper so I don't have to read about new scientific studies. That's awesome. Ignorance is bliss. And then, of course, you can reduce the importance of one of the cognitive elements. The chance that smoking will be harmful to me is so small that I'll continue to smoke. I mean, things are just going to happen. And you can use a third cognitive element, like supernatural forces. Let me let you read the book. But scientific studies are so confusing that you can't really trust anything you read.